G'day guys, welcome back to another video. So I was just in the shops the other day, Big W, it's an Australian retail store that basically sells everything, clothes, toys, electronics, whatever. When I'm in these stores, I always sort of check out the Rubik's Cubes. And I noticed that there was more than just the Rubik's brand this time. Usually you go into one of these stores and there's only Rubik's brand cubes because they're the major retailer and they're the ones everyone knows. But there was actually quite a few speed cubes. And there was one that I found really interesting. This one, the FELIKS ZEMDEGS Gang Cube. There was some other interesting speed cubes as well that I might try in the future, but for this time I really wanted to give this one a try. I mean, right off the bat it kind of just looks like a regular Gang Cube in a different packaging, but I've got a few Gang Cubes I want to test this out against and see if it's any good and if it's worth you buying. So let's go. So right off the bat, we got actually a pretty interesting packaging. It's obviously got a little picture of Felix up there, 121 world records, or world records breaker, sure. Professional speed cube by GAN Cube. So this is an official GAN product. It says it's 69.5 grams, lightweight design, sure. 12 hand feel options. All right, we'll check out those in a sec. 90-degree corner cutting, and age is 6. I know some kids that are a bit younger than that can solve cubes, but anyway. Now we can see right here, this has actually been signed by FELIKS ZEMDEGS himself. Whoa. Now I actually wanted to test this out. I have this cube from 2019 that I got signed at the 2019 World Championships. This is the first time I met him, and that is his signature right there. Let me know if you can recognize any of these other signatures. But anyway, that signature, yeah, kind of checks out. I mean, I guess since then he's probably updated a little bit. That's alright. Anyway, so let's see what it says on the back. So, GAN 356 RS2. So that's basically what it is. Just a GAN 356 RS2 with FELIKS ZEMDEGS edition, maybe? I don't know. So basically the R in GAN cubes means that it's not magnetic, which is kind of unfortunate. I do have a really old GAN R that I wanted to try. This, I mean, you can tell by the color scheme even, like, this is quite old. This was actually the cube I used in my very first competition I ever went to in 2019. Well, you can't actually see, but it doesn't have magnets. This is a non-magnetic cube. It's, quite flimsy and doesn't turn amazing. So I'm hoping that this one's a little bit better, even though it's non-magnetic. Made in China, like most other cubes are. The picture on the packaging may be different from the actual. Please refer to the actual product. Well, there is no picture, and the only picture is Felix, and I don't think he's going to be in here. Whatever, let's open this up. See, most cube boxes come in a box like this, an actual box. But this is sort of just one of those, like, hang tag blister pack things that you see in retail stores, so it's actually probably better for that. Let's open this up. That was surprisingly easy, and there's no plastic around the cube, which is actually quite nice. We'll, pull this out. Okay, we got the tensions. So I'm guessing there's only one sort of type of tension. It gives a bit of, center travel. Oh, and tension. Okay, so I'm guessing it has a screw and then the other screw. It doesn't actually come with the tool. Yeah, there's no tool. Oh, never mind. There is a tool. It's just hiding underneath everything. Okay. Oh, I forgot how hard GAN cubes are to open. Is that what this is for, maybe? Oh, jeez. Oh, wow. That flew across my room. Okay, so already this is actually really weird because it's got these little pins underneath the center cap. Old GAN cubes just sort of had nothing, just a little thing like that. Maybe they've improved. I also have a GAN 14 here, which is, I guess, the second oldest flagship cube. And this is the same. That has just that. I'm not sure why it has the stems. Maybe it's just harder to take off for beginners. I'm not sure. But we can see here that this is the tension system. It looks pretty standard, I guess. No magnets in there, so there's no magnet tensions either. I'm not going to touch that too much because I don't really care about this cube. Already you can see, just holding it like this, it sort of unaligns itself quite easily. It doesn't stay still, not holding together. This one is. See how it's like all in a square. Anyway, that's expected from a non-magnetic cube. Maybe I should keep this piece. It might be a collector's item. So, the real question is it any good? Oh my god. Okay. Oh. So, very fast. Corner cuttings actually okay. 90 degrees. Yeah, I mean, that's standard. Well, it's standard for modern cubes. So, okay. It's actually almost controllable. It's slightly loose. It turns actually not too bad. I was expecting it to be sort of something like this, where it's really uncontrollable, but they've actually clearly improved. So let's do a quick solve and actually see if this can, compete. I'm not going to time this or anything. Oh, wow. That was a massive slip. Well, I'll give it props for the... Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I'm clearly not used to not having magnets. Your finger slips through so easily, like moving the pieces or in here.
Magnetic cubes really have changed the game, honestly. There's a reason everyone uses them. These are obviously cheaper. The D moves. That's really interesting. The D move is very loose, and it's not that face. It's because there's nothing holding it up to the center, so the pieces can just flick around, and if I slightly move my finger at the back here, then the whole thing will just get misaligned. So, oh yeah, see that? That just turned the whole bottom like that when I was trying to do this turn. Matte plastic, it's not glossy. You can see that it's probably more obvious on the red. There's obviously the glossy one and the matte one. I prefer glossy or UV coated. My main is this right now, which is the Kwame. You can get it now at speedcubeshop.com. You can't actually get this one at speedcubeshop.com with the FELIKS ZEMDEGS packaging. You can only get it as an RS2. I wouldn't recommend it because there's much better cubes for the same price, if not cheaper.
Alright, so I've got the FELIKS ZEMDEGS cube and a GAN 14 Pro. Now, obviously the GAN 14 Pro is going to be better, but I want to see how much better it is and if it's even worth getting this at all. So to make this fair, I'm going to do an average of 12 solves on each cube, and we're going to see what my average is. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the FELIKS ZEMDEGS cube. Alright, let's go. Right, that was my average of 12 on the FELIKS ZEMDEGS cube. I got a 12.92 average. Yeah, not amazing. I locked up heaps. My best time, I believe, 10.6. I have better averages than that officially. And then my worst time was a 16.8. So let's put this aside and let's see if we can do any better on the 14. Now, I'm not that much of a fan of the 14 or any GAN cubes for that matter. However, I know this will be a lot better. Let's go. Right off the bat, my first solve is faster than all of my solves in the last cube, so let's finish this average. Alright, that's the 12 on the GAN 14. Now, what was my average? 11.7. Now, that wasn't actually my best times ever because I don't usually use this cube that often. As you can see, just from the magnet to the control and the plastic and everything else, I'd recommend getting a slightly better cube. GANs without magnets just, you just can't use them, especially for speed cubing.
Right, so I'm just going to do a few time solves here. Basically just to show you the turning and how the turning is actually not that amazing. Let me rephrase that. The turning's good, but without the magnets, GAN cubes just can't really work that well. I don't really know why they keep producing these because they haven't really been very successful, but they keep bringing out more iterations of their R lineup. I guess because it makes them money, because they look cheaper, people buy them, they think they're saving money. But it's actually not a good idea to get these because they just will give you bad habits, especially if you're planning on getting faster and using better cubes. And you can see with these solves, I'm just locking up all the time, like in basically every step of the solve. The F2L's fine, but when it comes to algorithms and executing them well, it just completely gets destroyed. And I can't do my normal turning fast or even at all because it just doesn't work. I've tried doing a bunch of solves. I did about 50 solves on this cube. These were my best solves basically, which is kind of unfortunate to say. I could only get one 10-second time and it was because it was just a really lucky solve. So I wouldn't recommend getting this. There's many other cubes you can get. If you really want a GAN cube, there is better options with magnets. There's even the Monster Go cubes you could give a try. But I'd recommend an RS3M or something like a low budget Kwame because they're really good and they're a great way to get started.
Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.